Marcus was not struggling. That is the part that made it so hard to see. He had joined the company 18 months ago with a skill set that was genuinely rare for someone at his level. He picked up processes in days that normally took new hires weeks. He asked questions in team meetings that made senior colleagues pause. Not because the questions were aggressive, because they were accurate, because they pointed at things everyone had silently agreed not to point at. His first performance review was excellent. His manager used the word exceptional. Marcus went home that night and felt, for the first time in a long time, like he had found the right place. By month 16, he was still in the same role, same title, same pay band, and his manager had stopped including him in the conversations that actually mattered. Marcus did not get worse. He did not change. The system around him did, and nobody told him why. Here is what they never explain to you when you start a new job. There are two things an organization measures when it looks at you. The first one they tell you about: performance, output, results, delivery. That is the visible metric, the one on your review form, the one your manager references in your one-on-ones. The second one they never tell you about. It has no box on the review form, no official name, no onboarding slide that explains it, but it is running constantly in the background of every decision made about your career. It is called replaceability comfort, and it determines more about your trajectory than any performance rating ever will. Here is the principle. Every organization has a tolerance threshold for how much any single employee can outgrow their current container. When you perform inside that threshold, you get rewarded. When you start pushing past it, when your output, your questions, your visibility, your potential starts creating friction above you, the system does not punish you. It does not fire you. It does not demote you. It contains you. Quietly, systematically, with complete deniability. This is not a conspiracy. It is not personal. It is what organizations do when a high performer starts becoming inconvenient to the people responsible for managing them. Once you can see the mechanism, you cannot unsee it. Mechanism 1. The complexity redirect. Marcus identifies a broken process. It's costing the team 4 hours every week. He documents it. He brings a solution to his manager. His manager nods, says this is exactly the kind of thinking we need, and then redirects Marcus toward a comprehensive cross-departmental review that will take 2 quarters to complete and will ultimately produce a report that gets filed under future considerations. Marcus is now busy, genuinely busy, visibly busy. Busy enough that the question of his advancement never quite surfaces because he is clearly already stretched. The redirect is not random, it is calibrated. The complexity is real enough to feel meaningful. The timeline is long enough to absorb the urgency. And while Marcus is buried in the audit, the window for his promotion quietly closes without anyone having to say the word no. He was not blocked, he was redirected. There is a difference, and only one of them shows up in his manager's notes. Mechanism 2. The invisible room. Strategy meetings happen, senior leadership presentations happen, cross-functional planning sessions happen. Marcus is rarely in any of them, not because his manager doubts his competence. His manager knows exactly how competent he is. That's precisely the problem. Marcus in that room asks sharp questions. Marcus in that room surfaces things that were supposed to stay quiet. Marcus in that room makes the people above his manager slightly uncomfortable, and that discomfort travels downward in ways that create problems for his own standing as a manager. So the invitation never comes. The room stays small. Marcus performs every day for an audience that has no power to move him forward. And when he asks, the answer is always some version of the timing, the headcount freeze, the restructure that's coming. Never a closed door, always a horizon that keeps moving. Mechanism 3. The name that disappears. Marcus spends 3 weeks solving a problem that had been costing the department significant manual rework every month. The solution works. His manager presents it to senior leadership in the quarterly review. The language used is, The team developed a more efficient approach to the workflow. Not Marcus, the team. This is not always intentional. Sometimes managers genuinely think in terms of their unit rather than their individuals, but the effect is identical regardless of the intent. The work travels up through the organization. The name does not. And in a system where your promotion requires someone above your manager to know who you are before a decision gets made, work without a name attached to it is work that cannot advocate for you in the rooms you aren't in. You solved the problem, the system absorbed the solution, and you are still exactly where you were. Mechanism 4. The unofficial promotion. This one is the most sophisticated and the most expensive for you. Marcus is gradually given more responsibility. Junior team members are quietly directed to him for guidance. He becomes the person people go to when things break, when something needs explaining, when a decision needs an informed second opinion. He is functionally operating at the next level, without the title, without the compensation, without any official recognition that his role has expanded beyond what he was hired to do. His manager benefits from his output, the organization benefits from his informal seniority, and Marcus, because he's conscientious, because he believes in the work, because he's been told that demonstrating capability is how you earn the next step, keeps showing up. He calls it building his case. The system calls it efficiency. The unofficial promotion is how organizations extract senior-level value from junior-level payroll. The employee invests, the organization collects, and the formal promotion stays perpetually on the horizon, close enough to seem possible, far enough that it never arrives. Here's what makes all of this so effective. Every single mechanism is completely deniable. If Marcus sat down with his manager tomorrow and said, "I feel like I'm being held back," his manager would have a ready response. The timing, the headcount, the restructure, the encouragement to keep doing exactly what you're doing. None of it technically false, all of it designed to extend the timeline without making a commitment. And underneath all of it, here's the real structure driving the behavior. Most managers aren't malicious, they're incentivized. Their performance is measured by team stability, delivery consistency, and retention. Losing a high performer creates a recruiting cost, a knowledge gap, a ramp-up period, an explanation that has to travel upward. The organization does not reward a manager for developing someone into a promotion. It charges them for the vacancy it creates. So the rational move, the incentive structure quietly demands, is to keep the high performer performing and to manage the timeline of their growth as long as the high performer will allow it. Marcus's ambition isn't the problem. Marcus's ambition without organizational leverage is the problem. So here's how you stop waiting for a system to deliver something it was never designed to deliver automatically. Move 1. Stop making your timeline their leverage. The moment you tell your manager you want to be promoted in the next year, you've handed them a deadline they can manage around. Remove the timeline from the conversation entirely. Replace it with a different question. What is the single most painful recurring problem in this department that nobody has fully owned? Find it, fix it. Do not announce the intention, deliver the outcome. Then summarize it in one specific sentence. Not, "I improved the process," but "I eliminated 6 hours of manual work from the reporting cycle." Specificity travels, generality disappears. Move 2. Narrate your work to the level above your manager. Your manager may not be telling your story in the rooms that matter, not because they're working against you, because the story was never packaged in a way that was easy to carry. Make it easy. After every significant outcome, reduce it to one sentence that requires no context to understand. Then find a legitimate reason for that sentence to reach someone one level above your manager. A project update, a cross-functional note, a response in a meeting where that person was present. You are not going around your manager. You are making sure your work exists in the awareness of the people who will ratify your next move. Move 3. Build presence before you need a vote. Promotion decisions in most organizations are not made by your direct manager. They are ratified above them. And if the person ratifying the decision doesn't know your name before your name is on the table, your manager's advocacy only travels so far.
Find one honest reason to be useful to someone at that level. A cross-functional problem, a question only they can answer, a project that touches their team. Exist in their awareness before you need their support. Presence built in advance is influence. Presence requested in the moment is a favor. Marcus eventually stopped trying to perform his way into a conversation. The system was never designed to start on his behalf. He identified the one problem in his department that everyone acknowledged and nobody owned. He fixed it in 4 weeks. He wrote the outcome in 2 sentences and included it as a status note in a meeting that his manager's manager had been copied on. He did not frame it as self-promotion. He framed it as project closure. 6 weeks later, his name appeared on a list he didn't know existed. The system did not change. Marcus changed where he aimed inside it.
The organizations that extract the most from exceptional people are not the ones that reward them fastest. They are the ones that keep the path unclear enough, that driven people keep delivering while waiting for a moment the system was never built to generate automatically. Containment is not personal, it is structural. It runs on incentives, not malice. And the moment you understand that completely, without bitterness, as a simple operational fact, you stop trying to outperform a ceiling that was never designed to respond to performance alone. Your output is not the argument. Your positioning is the argument. Learn the difference before the system spends the next 2 years teaching it to you the expensive way. I'm Alex. If this is the kind of conversation you have been waiting for someone to have out loud, the real mechanics, the hidden structures, the things that actually determine what happens to your career, subscribe to this channel. This is exactly what we do here. New video drops every week, and the next one is already built. Alex versus the system. See you there.